Hello gamers, I'm back with another episode of Beyond the Emulator with your host Dylan. This episode reviews how I set up Crossmix 1.3.0 firmware on my Trimui Brick. Now what I did was I was able to locate a file on social media. I will include it below in the details of my description. And what I did was I copied and pasted the file after I downloaded it on a FAT32 formatted SD card. Actually, it's a generic card and it works. It's a 64 gigabyte card. I've used it for other firmwares. It's about a 2 gigabyte file downloaded, zipped, and then I just basically extracted it, copied it over to the SD card, loaded some ROMs and BIOS, and did some audio and video as well. I need to still make some adjustments, but you can see this is a version of the Crossmix. So without keeping you in suspense, let's get started. So Crossmix 1.3.0 firmware on the brick. Pretty awesome. Was able to find a file and I loaded up some games. So just very similar to the other version. You can go to Dreamcast, you can press X, and it gives you these selections of retro cores that are being used. So if we were going to go to this one for Rush 2049, just kind of give you a little bit of a glitter there. Retro Achievements has been logged in. I'll show you where that is as well. You can get rid of the, you're going to have to go with menu and B to get to the menu. Go to advanced menu. Here's our retro arch. Let's get rid of the on-screen overlay. It seems to be a default. But you can also see there's borders down here that are glittered. So maybe trying a different core would help out. But it boots right up. Screen is very clear. Now you can see I can't move it with the joystick. So if I push function 1 in menu, it's actually going to change my D-pad to a joystick. I'll also show you that in the settings. But now we're able to use the D-pad as a joystick. And it's working rather well. So there's an example of a Dreamcast game. Menu and start. Let's go ahead and get out of that. Seems like it froze up here. There we go. So there is a little bit buggy. We'll go to Game Boy Advance. Oh, look. Which I also have on the Trimui Smart Pro. Pokemon Lazarus, which I've actually have going already. So if I go to my menu, I can go to my advanced menu and I should be able to restart it. Again, my overlay is here. If I wanted to get rid of it, go with menu and B, get into the retro arch. And there's Pokemon Lazarus, Pokemon hack that just recently was launched. Go ahead and get out of that. Brings me back to my menu. Sega Genesis. Got a couple classic games here. We went with Battletoads. We're going to use the default cores on these. Retro Achievement loaded up. Game loaded up right away. We're able to move right away. There we go. Works just like a champ. Go ahead and menu and start. Get ready and get out of the game. Again, I'm just going to be a quick example of what I've loaded, just a few games. Here's Sega Master System. We've got Pac-Man. Game's actually in progress from previous because of the retro arch settings. As you can see, I can't move, so I need to go with Start and F1. Now it allows me to move back to the D-pad. There we go. D-pad's a little fidgety. Missed him. It just shows an example of that platform. I'm going to go to Nintendo 64. Let's just go with Super Mario. Now you can see my D-pad is not allowing me to move. I go ahead and press Start and F1. And now it's been converted to a joystick. So just some simple changes there to be able to play the game. Audio is a little bit bad. We could probably change it to a different core. But example works just fine. Does take a little bit of time to get out of it. We'll go over to PSP. Now, if you go to X, you can see the cores. These are the cores that are being used. So the PPSSPP 1.17.1 and then the PPSSPP 1.15 actually is the correct version. It's just a 5. I don't know why there's a typo in that version. But when you go to the OpenGL, I'll show you. When you go to the menu key, see how the border is out of the screen frame. So OpenGL does that. So it's hard to read. If we were to go and exit out of this, and we go back to flat out, we go X, change it to the Vulkan core. Frames per second is actually listed. Now you can see the frame is fit into the screen to make it work. And it loads right back up. So giving you an example of this. We'll go ahead and get out of the emulator. Even if we were to go to Soul Calibur, we have a save state. Let's go ahead and load it.
You win. Filthy maggots.
Soul Calibur works just fine. Let's go ahead and get a match going. Audio sounds good. And this is using the Vulkan, using the D-pad. Yeah, I feel like even though the frames per second is gone, there's some stutter here. There you go. Lag. Yeah, he's getting beaten up pretty bad by the girl. Oh, she got me. Let's go ahead and get out of that. After that poor fight, beaten by a girl. We'll go ahead and go over to the next one. We've got PlayStation. I've just got one game loaded, Spider-Man 2. There was a few other games, but they're in zip files, so I feel like I'm going to have to unzip those folders to make it work. So there is some testing still to be done. Again, RetroArch is loaded. We've got the border. If we go ahead and do menu and B, Go to Advanced Menu, go to Overlay, and now we have a bigger screen. He's moving rather well. And by the way, if you go to Menu and B, go to Advanced Menu. If you wanted to know what core you're using, you can go down to Core Options. Should have shown the core that it was using. Doesn't understand why it did. I've seen this before happen. Sorry about that. Let's get out of that. But the default should have been, if I press X, should have been the PC SX rearmed. But if you wanted to select Duck Station or Swan Station. So let's just go ahead and do Duck Station. Again, this is on using Crossmix 1.3.0 firmware on the Trimui Brick. I feel like it's a beta or alpha version that was located. Seems to be taking a little bit longer to load it up in the Duck Station. There's the overlay. Let's get rid of that. Seems to be moving much slower. We're going to go ahead and close that out. It seems like the rearmed version is much better. So still playing with that. Port's still playing with that. Super Nintendo, got a couple games here. If we go to Legend of Zelda. Retro Arch settings, goes right in there. Again, get rid of the overlay. Save states are the same as the Smart Pro. Loads are. You can set up net play. So if we go ahead and get out of the on screen, makes things a little bit better. Go ahead and get the game started. We're going to go ahead and get out of that. And then that's out of the games. So now if we go over to our shoulder buttons, we can go to apps. So to change the D-pad to a joystick, function key settings. You can see here D-pad to joystick is clicked for function 1. That's what we want to leave it on. Now function 2 actually is for the toggles on and off, and I'll show you that when we get out of this. And the switch on the side is for CPU performance mode. And I'll show you some different how that performance mode setting is done in here. So let's go ahead and get out of this. If I were to go ahead and press my F2, my lights came on. F1 and menu is going to change my joystick and D-pad. Moonlighting, still working on that. Media player, got that working. I was able to get a movie I had located. See if we can skip ahead. There we go.
This is my first house, my second house, and my third house made entirely of shit.
Audio's okay, but it is coming out of some small speakers. Headphones or a Bluetooth speaker would work much better. But the picture on the screen is clear as well. Go ahead and press menu key. You can get out of that. That's the default media players being used. Ebook reader, have not played with that. Boot logo is the same. It will not work with that hotfix. Just like the Trimui Smart Pro. USB storage, I have not used that. I was just pulling the EmuCleaner works when we loaded the games. It functions correctly. File manager is standard. Music player is defaulted also. But if I go ahead and click on it, I loaded some music. Very small screen to see. But got some black crows in the background. It sounds really bad with these speakers, so need to keep on digging a little bit better. maybe try and install Rockbox under the port. Reboot, understand, port master is loading port master. Over the air update, nothing is active. RetroArch is working. You can go ahead and go in here and make your settings, load up your cores. If you go to settings, I believe, go to achievements, and I'm logged into my achievements. So this would be a RetroArch achievements. That's going to be working. You can go in there if you're familiar with RetroArch and make your own settings. Scraper works. It's a different kind of scraper. We'll go ahead and run it really quick. If you go down here to the scraping that's in the settings, let's just go with scraping in 64 games. It opened up an outside screen scraper, a little bit different than what you've seen on the Trimui Smart Pro. So while this is doing that, I'll show you here on the Trimui Smart Pro. Let's go ahead and get out of this. This is the version on the Smart Pro. We go to N64. It's actually showing it scraping in the background, so you don't actually see this file showing it being done. So a little bit different design. Let's go over, we've got screen recorder, which I have not used, but I have used it on the Trimui Smart Pro. Works really well. System tools. You've got the same functions that are actually as well. So if I go to system tools here, you've got your controls, your emulators, your network, your themes, your tools. You can change these just like on the Trimui Smart Pro. So nothing's different there, just a different view. There we go. Go ahead and get out of this. Also your settings. Basically, down here, the same for the stock. Go ahead and get out of there. And that kind of gives you an example of it working. Crossmix 1.3.0 firmware on the Trimui Brick. Again, go ahead and bookmark this video for future reference. If you're in the process of setting up your Trimui Brick or Hammer with this easy setup guide, or not really a setup guide, but a review. And if you like these tutorials, like and subscribe my page. And again, thanks for watching. And I will include a link to the Crossmix 1.3.0 firmware that can be used on the brick. I would suggest proceed with caution. Always back up your files if you want to just set it up and take a spin with it. Thanks, and have a great day.